Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the update stream. This is Bugs here. I'm joined today by Artemis and Miss D. Say hi, guys.
Hi guys.
Hi,
He
guys.
says your mic is muted. Can you guys hear us?
Oh, it might have just been a delay because
Oh,
I
okay, yes.
waited
Yeah.
extra long to get started. Don't
Okay,
mind
okay,
me,
okay. It's good.
but cool.
Yes,
So,
no,
how's
yes, no.
everybody doing? Yeah, yes, no, yes, no. We'll see. But hey, everybody, welcome to the update stream. It is another month. Happy June. And with this 1st of June, it is the first Thursday. And so we have an update today. Some cool stuff coming in the update. As always, we'll go through what's going on. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to do Miss D underscore that's me in chat. And we'll get to as many questions as we have the opportunity to. As usual, the update is expected out at the normal time, which is just 59 minutes from now, give or take a minute or two. 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. BST is when the update is expected. This update, as with all first Thursday updates, does force a map wipe across the board. And many community and official servers, including Rustafied, do wipe blueprints with the first Thursday update. The exception at Rustafied is our Medium 3 servers, US and EU Medium 3. Those do not wipe blueprints every month, but every other Rustified server will wipe blueprints along with the map wipe when this update hits in about an hour. So let's get into it. What do we have going on in this update today? Well, second of its kind, we've got a new building skin DLC going live today. This is the shipping container DLC. We've got a little example here in front of you to give you a kind of sense of what this DLC offers. But basically, it's kind of like the big brother to the Adobe DLC that came out last month. And instead of like the Adobe was a skin of the stone tier, this is a skin of the sheet metal building tier. And so with that, you'll be able to purchase the skin on the item store shortly. I imagine the price point is going to be roughly what the Adobe was. We haven't seen it on the item store quite yet, but I expect it to be on there soon. And I didn't check in the last like 10 minutes, so maybe it went live already. But we will keep checking on that. But once you purchase the shipping container DLC in game, you will be able to upgrade your sheet metal tier to this new shipping container tier if you want. Now, like the Adobe DLC and like any other building skin they're going to come out with, this does not change anything with statistics, with rating, with damage taken, or anything like that. It doesn't make the building parts stronger or weaker. They're exactly the same, statistically speaking, and gameplay wise, as the sheet metal alternative. They just change the aesthetics of the outside of it. And now with the aesthetic change, unlike the Adobe, with the shipping container, as you can see, you can actually pick different colors for the exterior, and it actually comes into the interior a little bit. You can see that color is represented through like a bit of the frame and everything around the wood on the interior. But you change the color with the spray can. So and if you're not familiar or you kind of forgot about the spray can, that is a default blueprint, 100 metal frags to craft. And then with that spray can, you can go around and actually select from 16 different colors and create just a whole bunch of different variations and uh, looks and feel for your bases. Now, a little bit about how the color selection works. As you're upgrading, if you say are going to build and you've built a bunch of twig out and then you want everything to be say yellow, what you'll want to do is you'll want to upgrade one piece to the building to the shipping container tier, then bust out your spray can, change it to yellow, and then everything you upgrade after that will be that yellow color. If you haven't selected a color in that session with a spray can yet, then it's just going to give you a bunch of random colors, which you probably don't want. So you'll want to just upgrade one, set the color for ease, and then it'll automatically be that color for everything else, and you don't have to waste the spray can and go around again and change the color on everything. Just a little tip. And once again, this is going to be available for purchase on the item store. Let's see. Let's refresh. Are we seeing it on the item store? Not quite yet, but probably going to be around 12.99 US. And you'll want to also have a spray can handy to change the colors as you go. And that about does it with the building skin. That's basically it. It's just another one of these building skins. I do think there's some other building skins on the way. Based on the commits, we've seen a couple other ones. It looks like there's maybe a brick one being worked on, maybe a stone block one, and also one called Tribalist. So if the devs continue as they have been the last 2 months, we might see another building skin start getting worked on here early in June post the release of this one today. So, yeah, I definitely recommend you go check it out. Now, another thing that you'll notice as you're upgrading this new building skin is they did modify the UI for the skin selection. So, previously, and when Adobe first went live, when you bust out the hammer and you right click and you go to that radial UI menu, there was just this option on the top left to turn on or turn off building skins. It was like this toggle on or off. Now they've changed it so you can actually scroll through using Q and E by default. And so this not only is a little bit more straightforward from a user experience just standpoint in general, but the other cool thing I think it allows for is not just one building skin for each tier. It actually opens up the possibility where the stone tier could have multiple different skins, and same with the sheet metal tier because you can just scroll through them using Q and E. Now, don't worry if you're already using Q and E for some other things, you've already got that bound to something else, and that's going to mess up your gameplay. Don't worry about it. You can change the Q and E option, the keybind option. And to do that, you just want to go into the escape menu, options, controls, and then it's actually listed under the context menu section. And then you can just modify Q and E to whatever keys you want if you do so want to change it. Now, also another thing with building upgrades you'll notice this month is by default, there are now these creation effects or creation jibs as they were being called in development. By default, I'm just kind of calling them building upgrade animations because that's kind of what they are. But you can see as you upgrade these different tiers and different pieces, there's now this cool animation that goes along with it. A little maybe like Fortnite-esque kind of little ish, but each animation just runs immediately. There, it does take a second or two for the animation to complete, but the upgrade does happen immediately. This doesn't change anything with the actual upgrade process. And for anyone squeezing every frame per second, because in the upgrade, there were some people testing and doing a bunch of upgrades at once, as you normally do when you're building and upgrading. You're doing upgrade after upgrade after upgrade, and it's spamming these animations, and it can cause a bit of degradation of your frames per second. And so if you're really like squeezing every frame per second you want, then you'll probably want to just turn this option off. And thankfully you can just through the escape options menu. There's a creation effects new option and you can just turn it off there. Alternatively, there's a CVAR. And so if you go into F1 and you can do effects.creation effects, one word, and you can set that to false, and then it just won't run those animations anymore. So if you don't like them, you don't have to have them. And it also, once again, just doesn't change anything with the upgrade process. The upgrade's still immediate. Nothing has shifted on the fundamentals of how upgrading works. This is just a nice little pretty aesthetic option to have if you so please. And it has, as you'll see, with different building tiers and the different pieces, each one has its own kind of unique animation and sound. So you can enjoy that if you so want to. Now, also, we have some changes to respawning and balance coming in with this update today. The big thing is now by default on vanilla servers, there is a limit of number of respawn points, as in there's a limit of number of sleeping bags and or beds that you can add. That limit by default is 15. So for each player on each server on the map, you can only do a max of 15 bags by default. As you put a bag down, you'll see a little thing popping up saying you are now at X of 15 bags. This is a option that the server owners can change. They can set no limit or they can set a bigger limit if they want. It's just 15 by default. And these notices will pop up regardless of if it's set to 30. But as you add those things down, you can see that pop up comes up. Also, if you look at your hotbar, when you've got the bag out, it also shows the amount that's available there, like 5 out of 15, kind of like the ammo, shows up, but just a little thing in the hotbar. So that's a pretty big balance change. You can no longer just go around if your gameplay style was to put like 100 bags across the map and be able to respawn anywhere at any time. That's not going to work quite as well as it did before because, once again, you are by default limited by 15. This is something, once again, server owners can change. Some servers may choose to turn it off. At Rustafied, we're going to keep things vanilla. And so for the update today, we're just going to keep this at the default 15 and see how it plays out. Now, the 15 limit isn't the only change coming in with the respawn stuff. And I will preface by saying some of this still seems to be a work in progress and isn't lining up with what our experience on staging isn't lining up with what the commits have said. And I don't know if we're just missing something or screwing something up over here. Once again, we're not developers, so we just report on this and we report on it the best we can. But as it stands now, along with this 15 bag limit, you can now, if you look at your in game map, you can see the bags that you have placed. And then you can also modify those bags, as in delete those bags from your. Like basically, it's unclaiming those bags. The bags don't delete off the map, but if you hold down the little trash can next to it, you will officially unclaim the bag. You can do this even when the bag's in cooldown. That's something that previously you couldn't. If a bag was in cooldown and you were in the death screen, you had to wait to delete it. Now you can delete it anytime, even if it's in cooldown. You just hold that little trash icon and it'll remove. Now, here's where it gets a little, and I'm unsure of how this is going because based on the commits, how this is supposed to work, I believe, is you unclaim a bag and then someone else can come up to that bag because it's still on the map, right? And someone else can go up and actually claim the bag for themselves or gift the bag to other people on the server. And there's a setting actually called bag gifting that's been added to the options menu. And with that bag gifting setting, you can select who, if anyone, can gift bags to you. So you can say team members only, or friends, or anybody, or nobody. Um, but when we're trying to gift, and I messaged Alistair about this, I haven't heard back. I hate messaging the devs on wipe day, on force wipe day, but I just couldn't figure this one out because when we go up to the bag, we're just seeing the rename bag option. So it's all to say, I, I think there's supposed to be a claiming bags thing going on, and based on commits, that is intended. As it stands right now, we're not seeing how to do it on staging. And once again, that could just be we're being dummies and we just didn't figure it out. So if you have ideas in chat and you want us to try anything, let us know. But right now, we're not seeing an option to reclaim a bag. You can just rename a bag once you delete it. But the big thing, really, when we're talking about these respawn changes, is that 15 bag limit and the ability to delete from the in-game map and manage your bags via the in-game map and not having to, you know, do it in alternative ways. Now, speaking of in-game map, there's also some improvements to the in-game map. If you look over at Artemis's in-game map here, you can see on the left, there's markers, and it's a list of markers that show your markers and the leader's markers as well. And so if you click on one of those, it'll just go to the marker. uh, it'll focus on the marker on the map. It shows the title and the color and the icons of the markers if you've set them. And you can kind of just easily go around and use that as kind of a reference point or a key to easily see all the map marker points around the map for you and your leader. You can also, through this, delete your own map marker things just using the X right there, but easily scroll through and all that stuff. Now, along with this, they did do a couple other quality of life improvements and miscellaneous fixes to map stuff. There were some goofy things going on with tooltips and like placing map markers too close to where you're currently at. And also they did a setting so it's going to use as you create a new map marker, it now uses whatever color is unused. So you get a little more variety by default in your map markers instead of them all just popping up the same color. So just some miscellaneous improvements to this in-game map marker system. After we saw it go live the other month with, of course, the new icon and labeling and color options and everything, this was just kind of a second iteration on that to improve it just a little bit more. So we're seeing that go live with the update today as well. Also, we've got some wipe timer improvements. As a player, this really isn't going to impact you too much. As a server owner, you might have been having issues over the past couple weeks with setting the wipe timer on your server. This is, of course, all related to the new nuclear missile silo and the subsequent end of wipe activities and server events that happen. So Bradleys will start to roam around various points of the map, and the F-15s will start flying over and all that good stuff the last day before wipe. But if the wipe timer is set wrong on the server, then you can have a server that just wiped a bunch of nakeds roaming around the beach trying to just get their first shack set up, and then Bradley starts spawning everywhere, and that's not a good time. So what the devs did was basically refactored the thing to use cron expressions and use the Chronos library, which can now handle things like time zone. They added a convar for timestamp override and for setting a time zone, which the time zone defaults to Europe/London, but you can set it to like EST if you're working with that for your wipe time. And then there's also a print wipe console command, which will show all the upcoming wipes based on what your current settings are. So you can confirm, like, okay, yeah, that is wiping when I want it to. Once again, not really something that's going to impact you guys as players too much, unless the server you were playing on was goofing on the wipe time stuff, and now they won't be. I'll be honest, we goofed on a couple of them in this past month because it's just a new thing, and sometimes the setting got set wrong, and then people are like, "Why are Bradleys everywhere on AU long?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know," because we goofed. But yeah, so it's nice as a server owner to see these improvements. It should make it easier just overall to not only set the wipe timer but confirm it's set properly each wipe. Also, we've got some new world models, specifically a handmade shell world model. This is an ongoing continuation of the world model project where basically we're getting rid of all the burlap sacks when you're dropping stuff and instead getting an accurate representation of, or I should say, a more accurate representation of what the actual item being dropped is. And most recently, in the past several weeks and months, we've seen a lot of these ammo boxes get worked on, and this is the most latest version of it. It's a nice handmade kind of box with like a little reused sticky note and everything. I think it looks nice and has a nice rust custom feel and everything. And so now, if you're dropping handmade shells around, no more burlap sacks. You're going to see one of these nice little handmade shell boxes. There's also a number of miscellaneous fixes that we'll generally see like month to month. Some miscellaneous fixes come in. This month, there were a lot of fixes around the corpse and skull not having the name hidden in streamer mode. So if you were dealing with that, that should mostly be resolved. Apparently, also the cowbell mallet was not appearing in the right hand when using the cowbell, and that should be fixed now. And they fixed when it came to map generation. There were some issues with floating pylons and stuff like that. And it was just happening on certain edge cases, but they've uh, rejiggered how the map generation works a little bit to resolve that and account for those edge cases. So we shouldn't have floating pylons on the map anymore, where previously we did. Also, there's a bunch of miscellaneous other stuff going on. There's improved horse idle animations. So if you're just hanging around looking at your horse hanging out, he might flop his tail or move his head around like a little bit differently as he's just idling there. You can now change the RF transmitter frequency when in a hostile TC radius. They also added a slightly larger no build radius around the nuclear missile silo monument. People are building a bit closer than I think they originally intended there. And so it's just increased that no build radius just slightly. They did do some improvements to the keybind system. It looks pretty much the same in the options menu, but in order to account for certain new options, they had to do some things in there. So we've got some improvements to the keybind system. Also, some changes to Bradley coming in. Bradley will no longer target players who are in safe zone. And if a player actively being targeted enters a safe zone, Bradley will stop targeting them. That may take 2 seconds. So it may, you know, take a hot sec, but eventually Bradley will stop targeting you if you run into a safe zone. There's also some new commands just for developers and uh, server owners and stuff like that. So there's an infinite ammo command, a repair inventory command, and a reload weapon command. Not going to go into the details because as a player, this doesn't matter to you. But as a developer who might be testing things and stuff like that, it's really nice to have some shortcuts to just reload everything or give infinite ammo or whatever. Also, they did some cleanup of tooltips. Just in general, the tooltips around had some weird behavior issues and stuff, and a lot of that has been resolved. They did some more improvements to the analytics and back-end tracking for the developers. They've been working on these metrics that basically for each server track all the kind of meta things that players are doing. And this is really a cool body of work, I think, because it allows the devs no longer do they have to just inference what people are doing. They can actually see like who's learning this, who's doing that, who's doing this. And then from gathering those metrics, they can get a sense for how to better balance the game and how to make sure new additions to the game can uh, be balanced and be implemented in a way that is aligned with their original intention. So that's cool to have that information. Information is power. And this month, we're just seeing some more individual things being tracked and some improvements overall to that backend tracking. And then finally, they added support to connect to a server via the query port. And this is used by those, if you ever see a URL that's like steam colon slash slash connect, that's to account for that. But yeah, that's about what we got going on in this update so far. And we got any questions from the audience?
Yeah, we do have a bunch. In the meantime, Artemis, can you show the roof how it looks on the inside? Someone was asking.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you. And when is swipe? And is it a force swipe today?
So yeah, it is a four swipe today. Four swipes happen, if you're not familiar, every first Thursday of the month. And some months we get lucky where the first day of the month is a Thursday. And so June 1st, first Thursday of the month, we got an update coming out today. The update is out at regular scheduled time, which is 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's when it's expected. So that is 38 minutes from now. Well, 37 now that it just turned. And generally speaking, what we see is about 15, 20 minutes before the turn of the hour, we'll see the server update actually go live. And then about 10, 15 minutes after that, we'll see the client update hit and the dev blog go live. And that's when we say the update is officially live. So as always, we'll let you know, we'll update the thing on the top left as soon as the server update hits and everything like that. But that is when the force wipe will happen. All servers will have a map wipe. Many servers, including most Rustafied servers, also choose to wipe blueprints with the first Thursday of every month. And so all Rustified servers, except for our EU and US Medium 3 servers, will be wiping blueprints along with the map when this update hits in just a little over half an hour now.
I just saw, what's his name? Blobistic just gifted 5 subs. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for that generous gift, man.
What is the bag limit on a Rustified server?
We're going to go with just the default vanilla to start. So it's going to be 15 because that's the default. And once again, that limit isn't just for sleeping bags, it's for beds too. It's basically for respawn points. So any respawn point adds to that list, and you can have only 15 as a maximum on the map.
The building animation when they upgraded the foundation in the beginning, I think when Artemis was upgrading, is that new or is that only on Rustified?
Yeah, no, that's the new building animations. They're called creation effects. And when they were being developed, they were called creation gibs or gibs. And let's see. Yeah, sorry, I just got a message, but that's confirming what I already know. But yeah, This is new to all servers. This is part of the update today. And yeah, these creation effects are new animations that play when you're upgrading. It's a different animation for each building tier and for each building like block. And they look pretty cool. They happen relatively fast, like it's like a second and a half animation. And it doesn't change anything with the actuality of how the upgrade happens. The upgrade still happens immediately. It doesn't wait until the animation is complete. And probably most importantly, if you want to, and especially if you're, really focusing on optimization and pinching every frame per second that you can, then you can turn off these creation effects. And it's easy to do so. There's just an option in the escape menu, and it's just listed under creation effects, and you can just hit that to off, and then it won't play the sounds and it won't play the animations when you're updating it. When you're upgrading, it'll just go back to what it's always been by default. So yeah, if you want, you can turn it off. By default it is on. And yeah, just hit the option if you want to turn it off.
Will they ever make a bundle for these building skins, and is it possible?
Yeah, I imagine at some point they'll probably make a bundle for these skins. That would make sense. Honestly, originally before the first one, before Adobe was released, I was thinking they might release them together as a bundle. But it does make sense from a couple different standpoints why they would release them initially as individual ones. For one, you can get them out the door and get the sales before all the other ones are done. So how it worked, they finished Adobe, got that ready to go, and launched that last month. Now this month we have the shipping container, and Adobe, of course, is the skin of stone tier, and this shipping container is a skin of the sheet metal tier. So maybe next month we'll see a skin of the armored, or we'll see a skin of the wood tier. And then I imagine over time, once they have a bunch of these DLCs out, then it would make a lot of sense to do a bundle for maybe a cheaper price. But I haven't heard anything specifically from the devs confirming that or denying that. It just, from my standpoint, yeah, would probably make sense eventually to do that. Now, based on commits, it looks like there are several other building skins already in the works. There is a brick, a stone block, maybe, and something called Tribalist. And I'm thinking Tribalist will probably be a skin of the wood, but I'm not sure. So we'll keep you posted as more comes to light. If they continue on the rate that they've been going, then we'll very likely see in June sometime that next skin start coming into the staging branch and being available for testing. And then maybe we'll see another DLC for the next building skin go live in July. But we'll see. Nothing's confirmed as it stands right now.
Will there be a way for server owners to turn off the upgrade animation?
The At the moment, the upgrade animation is set on the client side. And so it's not a server end setting, it's a client setting. Now, I do think there are some things I think with Oxide where you can change client settings when a client joins. I'm not sure how legit that is. We don't do anything like that, but I'm reaching into the depths of the back of my knowledge, and it does seem like there was something like that. So potentially you could do that and put that setting for your clients as they join, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's just a client side setting, and let your players decide whether they want it or not is what I would say.
Is there a more detailed look into the improved keybind system anywhere?
As it stands, no. I think a lot of that ended up being more on the back end, on like how the base level system handles and can account for keybinds. Because when we look in the options menu and the different control settings, there aren't that many new options. So it doesn't seem like it was too much of a, and maybe I'm just missing something or whatever, but based on what our testing was, it looks like most of that was probably more under the hood stuff and didn't have too much of a resounding effect on you as a player and your experience.
Today I got attacked by Bradley in the safe zone. I thought they fixed that, no?
No, that actually is coming out this month with this update. one of the changes with this update is Bradley specifically will not target players in a safe zone. And if a player is being targeted actively and they enter a safe zone, Bradley will stop targeting them within 2 seconds or less. So that is a change that is going live with the update today.
This is actually a good question. In the camber, you have a bed too. Does that count as the 15?
Yeah, that counts towards the 15 as well. And good
Okay.
question. Otherwise, yeah, we'd be having people just doing campers all over the map, right?
Yeah. Is there a way to disable leader markers?
Hmm. Don't join a team? But I don't know. Other than that, I'm not really sure.
Did they add the new building animations and do they lag?
Yes and yes. Well, it also depends on your computer, but yeah, they added the animations. Yeah, the animation is a lot going on your screen in a very short period of time, and if you're quick to upgrade, you can get 3 or 4 of those animations going at once. And if you're rocking that, then you are going to see FPS get lowered a bit. I know they did work on optimizing the animations a bit and all that stuff. And if you're running a decent computer, it's not a noticeable difference. Like I was running around and just upgrading super, super fast to test some stuff out. And I really didn't notice a difference. It wasn't like my PC turned into a slideshow, but also it's a gaming laptop with a 4090 in it. So I don't know. That's not really necessarily the best use case. If you are running a machine that's already struggling with FPS in Rust, then yeah, first thing when you get in, go to the options menu and look for creation effects and just turn that shit off because it definitely ain't going to improve your FPS. That's for sure.
Can you disable the animations on server as a server owner? Holy moly.
We're getting some repeat questions over here, but no.
Yeah.
Long and short, no. And maybe you can get a plugin that pushes client CVAR changes to the client when they connect, but I don't know. Don't do that. Just let your players turn it off if they want.
When will we see a unique Twitch drop for the Rustafied or Charitable Rust? Something like the trophy or ninja suit.
Yeah, well, we do have Charitable Rust this year. It's going to go off again. We're actually going to do it a month early. So it's going to be October 14th this year. That's the second weekend in October. And we are planning skins on the item store, the proceeds of which will go towards the amazing cause. And we're going to have Twitch drops. And we've got some exciting things planned. So, yeah, come October, we should have some Twitch drops for Charitable Rust and maybe a Rustified one. We'll see. And we're also going to be doing a contest. So if you're a skin creator, we're going to have cash prizes for the skin creators this year, just to incentivize people to do even bigger and better jobs. Because the fact of the matter is, with Charitable Rust, the majority of the proceeds, like 90+% of the proceeds we raise, are from those skin sales. And so we said, well, you know what? Let's incentivize people a little more this year. So it's going to be if you get one of the 4 skins on the item store, you'll get $500 as a cash prize. So we'll be releasing uh, that kind of contest in the next like 2 months probably. And so stay tuned for that. And we'll have more information for Charitable Rust coming up in the next couple months as well. So stay tuned. But just in the meantime, if you want, mark your calendars October 14th and 15th. And it's just going to be a cool weekend raising funds for this year. We are supporting Charity Water, who's an amazing organization that we worked with several years ago. We raised 60 some odd thousand in like 2018 or something like that for them. And that was enough to provide drinking water, fresh drinking water reliably to multiple different communities across Southeast Asia. Now, in the past couple of years, we've been raising a lot more because the event has just gotten bigger and we're raising more like over $200,000 a year. So I'm super stoked to raise like 200 plus $1,000 and bring fresh drinking water to people all over the world who need it most. That's like a fundamental thing that so many take for granted, but so many still don't have access to that. So that's what Charitable Rust is about this year. bringing fresh water to those who need it most. And with that, stay tuned for more information and stuff. And we'll have some Twitch drops and various other cool things.
And yeah, well done, guys. There's a little eye beside the leader markers. You can toggle them on and off.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Good
Why
spot.
why are the ceiling slash roof inverted?
Because they is. Not really sure. That's what I did, yeah.
Thank you, Artemis, because
I mean,
I was searching for something there
I
and
there was a
I didn't
lot of
come up with
people
anything better.
asking that though, so I feel like maybe, yeah.
I think maybe the practical thing I can think of is in case, imagine if I color them, but it's going to be quite easy to pick out what's what if you're top down on a roof, whereas this is a little bit more kind of hard to, but I'm not really sure.
And I see someone asking to see the white in the snow. I actually have my blue map marker, although we're not on the team, so I don't think you guys can see my blue map marker.
I can invite you real fast. One
But
sec.
I can
Where you
teleport
at?
to you if you're somewhere.
yeah, let me just go over to it because I did intentionally. I like knew someone was going to ask, and so I did make a white. Let me just get over there. Wait for it. Okay, yeah, you can teleport over to me.
Ready?
Yeah, and this was the lightest color you can do. You can see there's still like a good amount of rust elements in there and stuff like that. So it's not like pure white. It's not blending in. If you were going for blending in and utilizing this new skin to blend into the environment, your best bet actually is probably the green in a bunch of forest, I think. I could be wrong on that. Maybe there's some cool gray stuff you can do up against rocks here. I haven't played too much with that, but I did do a couple builds just in the middle of the forest with green, and it kind of blends in pretty well. And you can see some picture examples of that on rustified.com if you're interested, the article today.
One sec, I just had to delete a message. Are you guys gonna get the anti-cheat to do its job next update?
Well, here's where I like to remind everyone that we're not developers of the game and we're not on the Facepunch payroll. We are just fans of the game who love reporting on development news and running the best servers that we can. The fact of the matter when it comes to anti cheat and the hacker situation in the game is based on the 2022 recap from Facepunch themselves. They said there were 2 million individual users going through the official servers last year, and there were over 800,000 individual accounts banned by EAC for cheating. So it's all to say the hacker situation is a problem, and I haven't personally seen it get any notably better over the past couple months. Now, what I can say is over at Rustafied, we've been working on our own in-house anti-cheat and detection practices, and those we've been able to get going. And just in the past month or so, we've been able to ramp them up even more because we're getting much more confidence with them. And I'm happy to say they are doing an amazing job just automatically with what we've built in house. And then also, we are bringing on a bunch more moderators to help because it doesn't matter how much automation you have in place. At the end of the day, you still need some people to oversee some things. So we've got another round of moderators coming on as well. And we're doing interviews and training this month and continually building our team to be able to combat this issue because it is an ongoing issue. And I do hope EAC gets quicker at doing it. It seems like they will catch hackers, but if it's 2 days that they've been hacking in a server or multiple servers before they're caught and banned, well, they could have just ruined the experience of so many people. And so that's where our system is really looking at capturing these people and notifying us of these people before they ruin anyone's experience on the server. And we're really working to continue to improve that and build that up. I'm excited about the possibility of AI and stuff like that. I actually am looking into that and reached out to some other companies who are doing AI anti cheat. If we can lead the way in AI anti cheat for Rust, man, I'm going to freaking do it. And I'm happy to invest money in doing that because seriously, the hacker situation is arguably the biggest problem facing the game and has been for years. Yeah, we need optimization and stuff like that. And yeah, there's always improvements to be made. But when it comes down to it, hacking is the biggest plague on this game. And so we at Rustified are doing everything we can and exploring new options all the time to improve it. And in the meantime, I'm also really intending that EAC just starts getting quicker and better at what they're doing. But that's what's going on with the hacker situation.
Let's do a recap and then some more questions after if we have time.
Cool, that sounds good. So, recapity cap here. It is the first of the month. It is the first Thursday of the month. And with that, ooh, the server update just hit. Let me update that. That's good timing. That means that this update is coming out on time. If you're new to this, the server update will generally hit about 15, 20 minutes before the update. And then about 10, 15 minutes later, we'll see the client update hit and the dev blog go live. And that's when we say the server update is officially live. So shout out to the devs for another update that's looking like it's going to be on time. And so what is coming in this update? Let's go through a little recapity cap. First and foremost, we've got a new building skin DLC going live today. I'm not sure, is it on the item store yet? Let's see. I'm not seeing it yet, but we'll keep you posted. It should be there soon. But anyway, it's the shipping container DLC. It's like the big brother to the stone Adobe skin that we saw go live last month. It, like the Adobe skin, doesn't change any damage or rating stats. It's purely an aesthetic change, and it is a skin to the sheet metal building tier. Now, unlike the Adobe, you can actually change the color of each sheet metal or shipping container, part. And you do so with the spray can. You can choose from like 16 different colors and then spray. And then if you want, just a little tip, if you want everything to be like red as you're upgrading, just upgrade one part from twig to the shipping container, grab your spray can, make it red, and then upgrade everything else. And everything else will then automatically upgrade to the color you just recently chose. If you haven't chosen a color in that session yet, then it'll just upgrade to random colors. But that can be a little tip for getting you upgraded and not having to go back through and change all the colors manually. But you can change the colors with the spray can. Spray can is a default blueprint and 100 metal frag, so it's easy to get. And the durability lasts pretty good for going around and spraying different things. This will, again, be available on the item store, probably around the same price point as the Adobe DLC. For us in the States, that was $12.99 US. So we'll keep you posted on that. But that is the new shipping container building skin DLC. Also, with that, the skin selection UI has changed a little bit. So when you're working with the hammer and that radial UI menu, previously when Adobe came out, there was just a toggle option to say turn building skins on or off. And that was just like a binary 0, 1 type of thing. Now what they've done is gotten rid of that option, and in the hammer radial UI menu, there's now Q and E by default can be used to switch between and cycle between the different skins for each tier. If you already use Q&E for other things, don't worry, you can go into your bind options and under the context menu section, you can change these keybinds to whatever you want. But the other cool thing about this little subtle UI change is it allows for not just one, but actually multiple uh, different skins on each building tier if we ever get there. So if the team wants to do yet another uh, DLC or building skin for stone, this new UI way of doing it will allow for that, which is cool. Now, also, you'll notice as we're doing the upgrades here, you can see these animations. These are called creation effects, or during the development process, they were being labeled creation jibs or gibs. I never know. GIF, I don't know. Jib, whatever it is. Creation effects can be turned off. They are on by default, but they're basically just a quick little animation, a custom animation based on what building block you're upgrading and what level you're upgrading it to. So you can see it's got some like little Fortnite vibes, maybe a little bit, and a nice little cool animation. It doesn't change anything about how the upgrade actually happens or the timing of the upgrade. The upgrade still is immediate, but it will just play the animation out. And if you are squeezing frames per second and you don't want to deal with just this extra visual clutter stuff, then you can just turn off it with the options menu. It's under creation effects in the options menu, or you can use the convar in F1 of effects.creation effects false. And yeah, and that's can just be turned off in your client.config and you never have to worry about it again if you so choose. Also, we've got some respawn changes coming in this month. Specifically, the big thing with this is you can only have a maximum of 15 respawn points per server per player now by default. So that's a max of 15 bags, beds, or campers. They all count. As you put a bag down, you can see the limit update. So you can see you're at like 5 out of 15 bags. You can also in your hotbar see the limit there as well when you've got a bag or a bed selected. So you can always know how many you need. Now, the other cool thing with this is in-game map now has your bags in there while you're alive. And so you can modify them on the fly. Even if you want to delete one that's in cooldown, you can do that. Just hover over it and just hover over the little trash icon and it will delete that from your map. It actually doesn't delete the bag from the map itself. The sleeping bag will still be in game on the ground. And based on commits, it looks like you're supposed to be able to then go up and claim that bag for yourself. The idea being if you have a bag and you delete it from your map, it becomes a publicly unclaimed bag. And then anyone going up to it should be able to ideally claim it for themselves or give it to someone else. That's based on commits. Now, where we're at on staging right now, I'm not seeing how to do that. And that could just be we missed it and we're goofballs and haven't figured it out, or this functionality didn't make it into the commits and isn't making it into the update. Either way, I'm gonna look at the dev blog when it comes out in a couple minutes and see accordingly what the official story is. But it looks like you might be able to claim these bags and actually give them to other people. Also, a setting you might want to take note of given these new changes is there's now a bag gifting option in your escape menu options, and you can change that to select who, if anyone, can gift you bags. So still might be a work in progress. And generally speaking, we do see like hot fixes and updates come out after the big update hits. So maybe this will be one of those instances, but we'll keep you posted. Also, speaking of in-game map, there's improvements to that after the new map markers and everything came in the other month. We're seeing some improvements where basically you can see all your map markers and your team leader map markers listed on the left, and you can click on them to focus on them real quick. Uh, Shout out to the people pointing out that you can actually hide the leader markers if you want. You can toggle those off with the little eye icon there. And you can delete your map markers through this new list and everything as well, just to easily scroll around and find where you want to go on the map. They also did a couple like small quality of life improvements and fixes to like the tooltips. And when you create a new map marker now, it will use an unused color. So you're getting more variety by default in the colors when you create new markers and stuff like that. Some miscellaneous little things. Now, also, let's see, is the client update out? No, I'm just checking real quick here as I continue blabbering on. But no, we've got the server update out. We're still waiting on the client update to hit. That should be within a moment or two. And I'll just keep trucking on through this recap here in lieu of that. We got some improvements to wipe timers. This is not going to be anything that really impacts players, generally speaking, but with that new nuclear missile silo going live and then the subsequent end of wipe activities like the Bradley going around the map and the F-15 flyovers, there was some improvements that could be made to how server owners, ooh, there's the client update. Look at that. Boom. Let's tweet about it. Client update is live. Let's see, is dev blog out? And cool, look at this. We got a little bit of an early update. I'm not seeing the dev blog yet, but let's tweet about it real quick. Awesome. So we're going to we're going to go take down all our servers and get them updated and wiped and all that good stuff. The client update does appear to be out. The server update also appears to be out. So technically speaking, this update is live. If you're not seeing the update on your Steam library yet, I encourage you to either restart Steam or you can start verifying integrity of local game cache, and sometimes that spawns the update to happen. But the update is officially out. And real quick, just a couple other things to finish the recap as we wait for this dev blog to hit. There's a new handmade shell world model. So a nice little box for when you drop handmade shells, no more burlap sacks. There's some miscellaneous fixes for like corpses and skulls not hiding the name in streamer mode, a fix for the cowbell mallet not appearing. There's improved horse idle animations. You can now change the RF transmitter frequency while in hostile TC radius. They did slightly increase the size of the no build radius on the missile silo monument, and Bradley will no longer target players in safe zones. And if a targeted player goes into a safe zone, Bradley will stop targeting them within like 2 seconds. There's some new infinite ammo, repair inventory, and reload weapon convars for developers and server mods. You don't have to really worry about that. They cleaned up some tooltips and improved some analytics and a couple other things. Let's see, is the dev blog live yet? Bags to battles. Here we go. This month update brings respawn changes, ship and container building skin, creation building effects, and many improvements and fixes. Cool. Good stuff. And let's see. And it looks like the gifting bag stuff is in there. Maybe we're just screwing it up. Maybe we did it wrong. I don't know. Um, but cool. And the building upgrade effects, improvements and fixes. Oh yeah, the vending machine debris. Vending machines now drop debris when destroyed, preventing replacement. Pylon fixes. Sign resolution increased. That's cool. Streamer mode skull fixes. And man, I really do like that shipping container building skin. That's a cool look. You can create some cool looking stuff with that. And nice pics from the devs on that and the different colors. Very good stuff. And hammer radial improvements, Mac marker improvements, ping system improvements, memory pool thread safety improvements. Yeah, well, now we're talking. And yeah, and some more horse idle animations. Good stuff all over. Uh, yeah, so the update is live. Dev blog is live. Go update your clients. Once again, if you're not seeing the update hit, I encourage you to restart Steam and then just double check on your Steam library, and you should see that update. And that should do it. Before we wind down here, Shadow, do we have any other questions we want to cover? And we are doing a raid.
Yeah. Can I reskin a metal wall if it's already built in a default sheet metal?
Yes, you can change the skin, and it does a fraction of the cost now.
Is there any changes to missile silo?
Yeah, the build radius is increased slightly, and they improved the various commands for server owners for the wipe timer in settings. Oh, and they added a little catch on the bottom of the silo where loot could be dropped through and lost. Now it'll be caught, so it won't drop through the bottom of the silo. Those are the ones that come to mind immediately.
Can you paint the inside of the wall?
No, the inside of the wall kind of does show along the outline the exterior color, but the majority of it is just kind of this plywood, texture.
What happens when you are full bags and someone tries to give you a bag? Does it override or just not let them?
I think it just doesn't let them, but also, as I was just saying, we were having issues actually getting the bag assignment and gifting working. Once again, this could just be our goof, and we might just be doing it wrong. But it's all to say we couldn't properly test it because it just wasn't in our testing working as at all that I could see. But once again, probably just we goofed or something. I don't know.
Oh,
Do you
so we've
know
been
when?
on it. Oh, sorry, I was going to say also
It's
we've been on
okay.
it a couple of hours. It may have been in the meantime.
Yeah, it might have been a hot fix right before the update went live, and we're running because I updated the server 2 hours ago. So yeah, maybe there was just a fix that made it in right at the last minute.
Do you know when the second Twitch Rivals trophy will be added?
No, but I am seeing there's another Twitch drops coming in for Bellum, June 11th to 17th. Twitch drops will be enabled to support the Bellum Hispanic community featuring Aron Play, Grev Grevg. I should not try to read these names. I'm sorry. I love you all, but I'm just gonna butcher your names. But
I
yeah,
feel
more
you on
Twitch
that
drops
one.
coming on June 11th, 10 days.
Is there an option for server owners to turn off roaming Bradleys on the wipe event?
Yeah, I believe there is an option to turn that off. I mean, one way you could do is just set the wipe timer for like way later than when you're actually going to wipe, and then it just won't hit until you've already wiped, if that makes sense. Just set the wipe timer for like 2 weeks after you're actually going to wipe, and it should just never turn on.
Let me see. I don't think there's any new questions, so I'm trying to see real fast.
Well, cool. And
Is
I
there an
think,
up?
yeah, go for it.
Is there an update about player abusing safe zone shooting out?
Didn't see any specific commits for that. I could have missed them, but no, I haven't seen anything. The only safe zone changes I really saw this month are Bradley is no longer targeting people in safe zones. And if you're targeted by Bradley and you enter a safe zone, Bradley should technically stop targeting you.
I think we have a person to rate.
Yes, we do. And I want to just take a moment and thank everyone for tuning in. Once again, we are just fans of the game like you. We're not on the Face Punch payroll. We're not the developers of the game. We just love reporting on development news and running the best servers that we can. And quite literally, the only way we can do that is through the support of the community. So, to everyone who tunes in and watches, thank you. To people who subscribe on Twitch and give bits, thank you. And to our wonderful, beautiful, loyal VIP customers, thank you all so much because without that support, we wouldn't be able to run the servers we do and show up every week and report like we do. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I hope you all have a wonderful update. We're going to wind this puppy down. We do have a raid. We're going to be raiding. If it works, we're going to be raiding Anthric. So do hang around and chill for while we raid our featured streamer of the month. We'll, as always, be back every week, every Thursday, same time, same place to give you update news throughout the month, throughout each week. And Artemis and Miss D, thank you guys so much, as always, for being my co MCs.
You're welcome as always.
Yep, you're most welcome. Have a good work, guys.
Yeah, so I'm going to get this raid going, hopefully, if I can. But in the meantime, have a wonderful week and a wonderful wipe. This is Bugs signing off.